Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Michaela and I'm here to show you a step-by-step beginner friendly makeup tutorial. So I'll break down how to do your makeup and get a good result. As you can see, makeup is trial and error, so I do think that it takes some time to kind of get into the flow, get into the rhythm of learning your face and learning what works for you, what doesn't work for you. But hopefully my tips do help you strengthen your makeup skills. So when building your makeup kit, I recommend you get, beginner friendly brushes. I recommend Real Techniques. I feel like their brush sets are perfect. You can find one for base, for shadows, and it does give you that good blend. That's the makeup brush that I kind of started out with, using Real Techniques, and I feel like it does really help, give you that nice finish, and it's really good for beginners to use. It's not overly complex, it's fairly simplified. Once you get that, you need to find out what works for your skin. Skin prep is very, very important. You need to find a moisturizer that suits your skin. I will show you what suits my kind of skin type. I have dry skin, so the skin product I use may not be suitable for people that have oily skin, but there is an alternative I do show. You need a primer. This is important for the finish of your makeup, and it helps your makeup last. I recommend a foundation, concealer, eyebrow pencil or eyebrow powder, eyeshadow palette. A neutral eyeshadow palette is preferred for a beginner, and then you can kind of work with building up the tones and getting used to it. But I will link a recommended product in the description below and show you on the screen. You will need a lip gloss, setting powder, setting spray, blush, highlighter if that's what you like, you want that glowy look, a bronzer, and yeah, that's the kind of like the basics that you need. Any little extra bits and bobs, that's because of preference. But now let's get into it. So firstly, we're going to start with the eye area. When I do my makeup, I start with my brows and then I move on to my eyelids. This way, if your eyes water or something goes wrong, you can easily wipe it off without, having to worry about other aspects of your makeup. So for this first stage, you'll need an eyebrow pencil. So I'm using the MUA Brow Define pencil. And I also use an eyebrow palette. I'm using the Morphe 350 palette just to fill in my eyebrows with a brown, but I'll show you. You'll pick up your spoolie, just use any spoolie, and then just brush your eyebrows in place. Oh, this one's a bit dodgy. So you see, and this will help start crafting your eyebrows. Moved in a bit closely so you can see. So what you need to do is to start with the outline of your eyebrow and start doing strokes to follow the shape of your brow. The strokes will help you gain more control, and you'll be able to get your correct brow shape. And when you're doing your brows, you never want to fill in the front part so that you can get that natural finish. So then once I outline my brow, I just like to fill in the tail because it's a bit thinner than the rest. Alright, I'm going to do my other brow and then I'll let you just watch.
That ain't my girl, that's my nigga. Catch me out on us and drive with her. Catch me in the whip, ride with her. Sipping something, bumping big, hypnotized with her. Pray you get that job in Tampa. That's only 4 hours away. Take a car, take a plane, baby, whichever is faster. Oh, whichever one is in a asshole.
So now I'm just going to fill in the tail. Again, doing strokes. Doing strokes will help you gain control, like I said before. Right, so next we're going to get our brow powder. So I'm just using an eyeshadow palette, just the dark brown colours. There are brow powders you can use, but these days I just be liking using shadow. So I just get the darkest shade. Then I'll use an angled brush this type of brush, because this will be good. It makes it easier to apply and follow the shape of your brow. So just double in there. And when you're filling in your brow, I kind of start at the end first, and again you see just doing strokes to help you gain control. And when doing my brow, filling it in, I kind of stop at this point here, so it's not too full, because no one wants blocky brows. So I'll just do the same for the other side. Alright, so now I'm going to get a lighter brown, so I will use this shade, and then I will just fill it in from here. Again, as you see, I'm avoiding going from this point. So make sure you're using the strokes. And any like mistakes you can make around, it's going to be cleaned up by a concealer anyway. So if you find that you're overlining or that, you can just clean it up with concealer, and that's fine. So now we're going to use this spoolie brush again and angle it this way, and you just brush forward. So you're bringing the product forward and kind of brush it that way. So you'll have a more natural looking brow. And it'll give you that nice fade once you apply your concealer. And so I will just go back in with my angled brush and then kind of just make a demarcation line here. So then that's the brows done. Well, now we're going to move on to shaping your brows with concealer. Alright, so for this step, we want to make sure our eyebrows are really defined and, you know, just popping. And it's good to always follow the shape that suits your brow. Everyone's brow shape is different, so you just kind of have to find out and figure out what suits your face and suits your brow. So now that I'm going to get a concealer, for this step I'm using the fine concealer just to shape my brow. I do use different concealers, it depends on the day. I can use LA Girl Pro Concealer in the shade Fawn, or my Too Faced concealer, but today I'm just going to use this fine concealer. So you want to make sure you have a really precise applicator. So you can also use a brush with this kind of applicator, will help you with the process of shaping your brows. So I'm just looking in the mirror just to kind of help me, but when shaping my brows, I kind of start at this point here, and then again you want to do strokes, and this will help you gain control. And, you know, make sure that you're shaping your brows correctly. And you want to make sure you're following the shape of your eyebrows. And once you do that side, you will now go to the top.
Gave it all for fantasy. Is anybody gonna remember me? If I go tonight, I doubt the world will change. I just pray they don't forget my name. These are game moves I can't lose. When it's all said and done, will I still be cool?
Alright, so that's one brow done. I'm going to do the other brow. So now that you've applied your concealer, you're going to get a brush that kind of looks like this just to blend it out. Yeah, just be careful in this process. And I kind of just shut my eyelids and blend it like so. So you just kind of want to do a little dabble and not drag the concealer down too much.
They the only ones that really know me. I was fucking superstars when I was 19. Shit we did, you won't believe me. Now I'm at the turn up looking lonely. Then they wonder why I'm quiet at them house parties. Cause everybody see me. Throw some blunts and hit her once and I see me. A nigga wanna be me, but they don't know I'm fighting demons. I feel like dying every season. I've been swimming in the deep end. All my bitches know I'm leaving. Some point, whether there's a reason. Don't try giving me reasons to stop.
Alright, so now that eyebrows are done and it's concealed, you can see the concealer makes a big difference in giving it that definition. Now we're going to move on to our eyelids. So I'm just going to go in with my foundation just use a tiny drop. You don't need too much here. And I'm going to get that same brush I used to blend out the concealer and just blend that foundation out on my eyelids. And it gives it that nice base for when you do your eyeshadow.
Don't try giving me reasons to stop. Don't try giving me reasons. Nah. Don't try.
So now that's done, you want to set your concealer. So I like to use my Charlotte Tilbury pressed powder in the shade Fair and use this applicator, this little sponge, just to press it in. So I find that when you use pressed powder and you press it into your concealer, it just gives it that nice smooth finish. So you just swirl it around and then just press like so. And I feel like it helps the concealer to last longer throughout the day without cracking. So you see how smooth that is?
To stop.
If you ever get powder at the bottom of your eyes, you just do want to clean that up because that might affect your makeup later on. So I'm just using a white just to clear the excess off. I don't want that to tamper with my base. So now we're going to move on to eyeshadow. And I believe that when you're learning to do makeup, it's best to get like a neutral eyeshadow that has all the shades, or an eyeshadow that has like, you know, variation of colors. But I think a neutral one should be your priority. So I'm just going to go back into the Morphe palette. And there's so many like brands that do good eyeshadow palettes. It doesn't have to be, you know, high end. Like Makeup Revolution do amazing pigmented eyeshadows. BH Cosmetics. Yeah, there's quite a few, but I'm just going to use the Morphe one today. So this is more orange because I do like using orange on my brows. So I feel like when you do eyeshadow, it's good to kind of go with a neutral base and then you build into the colour, because then it gives you that smoother finish. I'm just going to go in with this colour just to kind of bring colour back into my eyelids. You just want to swirl it around or tap and do this. Oh, this is not the colour I was expecting, but hey, it matches what I want to do. So I'm just going to keep that here. Demonstrate on this eyelid what I mean. I'm building up colour. Just rub it in. And you can just put it here. And this just kind of brings back the brown and warmth, because you know you don't want in your pictures, and when you use flash, to have that like white light cast on your lids. I really don't like that. So as you can see, it's bringing back warmth onto my lid. I'm just going to do the same here. Okay, now so I'm going to use the orange. I've already put some on here, but I'm going to just show you how to apply on this eyelid. Rub in, and then again just use circular motions, and you can kind of build it up that way. And the more you practice makeup, the more you'll just get used to it, and then you'll just do it like in any way, but the results will ultimately be the same. So as you can see, as I'm going in and adding more products, you can see the orange standing out more, and you can see that it doesn't look streaky. So it's so important that you use circular motions, or just to make sure that it's blended out. Happy with that. So now it depends on my mood, but I'm just going to show you for the video how I do my eyeliner. Alright, so eyeliner is not a compulsory step in a makeup routine, but I do like to use liquid eyeliner. This one's run out a bit, so I might go over it with a black penciled eyeliner. So yeah, I'm just going to show you how I do that. Okay, so I've zoomed in a bit. So I like to do a cat wing. So again, just to start from here, and then you're going to stroke upwards, so you get that desired shape. So, because this one's running out a bit, just have to like that. go over it a little bit. But you kind of want the ends to be pointy, and I'm going to clean up with concealer. It's just that because this liquid liner is a bit dry, that's why it's not applying how it usually does. So yeah, just streak up, and then when you start at this point, you never start at the top, and you go down, and then you start creating that shape of the cat wing. And then as you see, there is a gap, so I just like to fill it in. So as you can see, that's done. And then now you go to the front, and then you just stroke. Just do little strokes. And then there you go, you've created your shape, and then you just fill it in. Now I'm going to do the other eye.
See, my days are cold without you. And though my heart can't take no more, I keep on running back to you. See, my days are cold without you. And though my heart can't take no more, I keep on running back to you, 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 running back to you.
I'd like to mention that when I do my liner, I also use the NYX Fine Precision eyeliner, and I think that's really good. I've just run out. I think the applicator is very thin, so it's easy to get that sharp line in. And don't worry, if you make a mistake with your liner, you can always clean it up with concealer. Sometimes it doesn't go smoothly, but the concealer will kind of like sharpen it and give it that oomph that you may be after. So for my lashes, I use these lashes from TikTok shop. I'll link them below, and I just double stack them to just give it that dull effect. So now you're gonna just apply the lash glue on here, and then let it sit for a bit, and then stick it on. Don't jump me, but to stick on my lashes I use hair glue, and then I'll just line it on the rim and then stick it on when I feel like it's a bit tacky. You want to wait for your lash glue to be tacky. I'm just applying here like so. But when applying your lash, you can either use a tweezer or your nails. I'm just going to use my nails. I think this is a skill you develop over time, because when I first started wearing lashes, I could not for the life of me use my own hands. I had to use a tweezer. But now that I've gotten used to it, I can just use my hand. So just want to, let's say, look down at your mirror, kind of like put that eyelash at this angle, set it, and then twist upright. And that way you'll get as close to the lash line as possible, you see? And you kind of just press it. So now the more complex area is done. In my opinion, this part takes the longest time and the rest doesn't take too long. So when you do this part, you want to make sure there's no excess makeup or glue on your face. So just make sure you wipe that off before we get to the next step. Alright, so now it's time to get into the important part, and this determines how well your makeup comes out or how well the base comes out. So skin prep. Skin prep is one of the most important stages. You need to make sure that your base is moisturized and not dry. So I like to use the Weleda Skin Food, and this is in the heavy version, but for those that may have oilier skin, there is a light version so that it's not as thick. So this is really just helps you give your skin that moisture, and it really does help with how flawless and smooth your makeup does come out. A little goes a long way, so you don't need to apply too much. Line there, line there. I just want to rub that in. So when you have applied the Weleda Skin Food, it's best you let it sit for a bit before you go to the priming stage. So I would say wait about 1 to 2 minutes, just let it set on your face and just give it that moment, because if you rush, that also may ruin your makeup. Now for the next stage, we're going to prime. Primer is a important step of makeup, and I feel like it does help your makeup last long. I feel like it just helps it merge together and stick, so that it gives it that longevity. So today I'm going to use the Refy Glow and Sculpt primer. I also do use the e.l.f. Power Grip primer and the NYX Face Glue primer. I feel like those worked for me, and I do recommend those. They're different price ranges, but again, I'll put all the information in the description below. So yeah, just going to get this and then just prime my face. Once you've applied primer, just give it a little dab it just so it spreads where it needs to.
I know you want it, so
Again, you want to let that sit for a moment. So the next stage of your makeup is your foundation. I use the Lancome foundation. I absolutely love this foundation. I feel like it's flawless, full coverage, and you can build it up to your liking. Usually I do mix foundations because I just like mixing it. So I would use the Maybelline foundation. I did have it, but it's just magically disappeared. So yeah. So today, instead of the Maybelline, I'm going to use the Lancome, and I'm going to use the Sleek foundation. I just apply a few pumps, and I feel like a few pumps really gives you that, like, you know, flawless base. And that, you know how you see those girls' makeup, they're doing tutorials, how do they get it like that? One pump can't achieve that look, do you get what I mean? Like, you need to use products to get that gorgeous base. You know how you'll be like, when you see Uche's makeup, oh, how does she do that? She uses product. She's not stingy with her foundation or concealer, and that's how you get that flawless, seamless look. So when I put my foundation on, I let it sit for a bit, and I feel like this does help increase the coverage, just letting it sit for like 30 seconds. Once done, I just start to blend. As you can see, perfect. That finish is just great. So I use this base brush from Chem Beauty. I do also use brushes from Real Techniques, and I feel like that's the perfect brush for a beginner when doing makeup. I'll put a link below. It will have all the essential brushes you need to get that base. I gave you the keys to my soul. So now I'm going in with concealer. I'm using the Too Faced Born This Way concealer in the shade Cookie. There's other concealers that I do use, that I do like using. Makeup Revolution concealers, LA Girl, what else? Fine concealer, e.l.f. concealer too. And I like mixing at times because I just feel like I just love the finish. So when applying concealer, you can just do little streaks. And me personally, I like to use a good amount, but you don't have to. Just use whatever you're comfortable with. So when you want to do it, you want to do under your eye. You want to do your chin area. You want to do your forehead. And you want to just do here. This will add to the definition of your makeup. And again, I like letting concealer sit for a little bit. So that's why I started my eyes first, so it gets the longest time to set. I also do a line down my nose. Yeah, and just let it sit for a good amount of time. So after it's sat for a bit, like I'll say like 30 to 45 seconds, well up until a minute really, and I just start, use a beauty blender. This is from Real Techniques, and you just start blending out, just little dabbles. And just going around my mouth. I like to use my under eyes till last, so it can thicken up a bit. Then I'll go to my forehead, and you'll just do little dabs like this. And not all beauty blenders are soft, guys, so you have to make sure you get a soft one, which will help with the base. In order to also blend out, you need to dampen your beauty blender with water or use setting spray to give it that dampness, otherwise it won't work dry and it could mess up your makeup, and we don't want that.
He said he came from Jamaica, he owned a couple acres, a couple fake visas cause he never got his paper.
Might take some of your liner out, so you just probably have to go back in. Don't worry about losing colour, the colour, we'll add that back in.
Gave up on love, fucking with them heartbreakers, but he was getting money with the movers and the shakers. He was mixed with a couple things, bought like a couple rings, bricks in a condo and grams to sing. Left arm, baby mother's had it. 5-year bid up north when they read it. Anyway,
with this part, you want to be careful so you don't drag it down too much. Just do this to pop the cheekbone a bit, because as you do your makeup you kind of lose definition in your face, so we have to add that back. Be careful. And with this concealer you do not have to use too much, a little goes a long way, but it truly is one of the best concealers in the market, and it does last and give you that nice seamless flawless face. Now if you have creases under your eyes, always look like this and then press it in, because I have creases and sometimes makeup can just go somehow. So after we finish blending out our concealer, we're immediately going to go in with the cream contour. I'm using the Made by Mitchell Blush Balm in the colour Chocolate Charm. When applying this, you want to start with your temples, line here. You don't have to use too much, all about preference. Then you want to go right here where your cheekbone is. And this will give you that bronzy look, but you have to be careful not to overdo it so you don't have that muddy look. Then you want to go where your jawline is and then slightly go under your jawline, as it helps make you look snatched. And a little bit like this. So to blend, I'm going to use a brush like this, or like an angled brush, and then you blend in circular motions. Now this one, we have to blend, so we don't have streaky lines. So let's do it in a circular motion and kind of drag it down. Blending is so important because you want to look seamless. And don't be afraid, like if you make like a mess, you can always clean it up. So the most important part is that we blend. Just drag it down a little bit. Now I'll go here. We do this, help give you that chiseled definition.
20 minutes calls cause I'm not home. What you gonna do on it?
anyway, I felt good.
I just want to smile just to bring that colour here in the apples of your cheeks. as you can see. And just kind of blend this bit out.
They say she get it from her mama. I'ma say you got it right, body.
Alright, so now we're just gonna go back in with your beauty blender and then just kind of bring back that pop here. Just clean it up a bit. Then you want to use the flat side just to make sure you've got that blend and haven't missed out any spots. This will just kind of guarantee the seamless finish. So you just kind of want to go over the bits you've blended. We don't have those harsh lines because we do not want that. And I just go underneath the eye again. Just kind of blend it. I'm just going to use a tiny dot of concealer as it's been. Left it for a little bit. And then just blend that out.
Don't be in the home without tell me is you down, cause I'm trying to go good tonight. Posing, hope she's there to right. I just wanna live in a fantasy. I think we deserve it right.
Alright, so we're gonna go back in with our Charlotte Tilbury pressed powder and then set the under eye. We're gonna do this as fast as possible to avoid it creasing. You just wanna press in. And can you see that? Look how flawless, and we haven't even set it with it. And I feel like this way, instead of baking, you know, it sets your work out way better. You don't have that cast, and it lasts long. And you're less likely to have a flashback this way. So remember, just press, press, press. I do sometimes use a loose powder, but these days I'm not. I'm just using strictly pressed powder. So you want to press in all the light areas of your face with the pressed powder so it sets the concealer. This part is not for the contour. We'll get onto that part next. Just want to make sure the bright points are set.
We deserve it right. Top of the memory.
So I do like to use two setting powders, but again, this is optional. It's not a compulsory step. But I use the Made by Mitchell Eyelights palette, and I use the shade Solar. So I'm using the Sunlight palette. So I just go over it and press in, press, press, press. I press everywhere. And around your smile lines, you just want to puff out your mouth like this and then press. This is to avoid any creasing. And underneath your eye, just do it this way as well. So just to make sure no creasing happens if you have natural lines on your face. Okay, so I'm gonna use the Chem Beauty powder It's a setting powder in the shade Meringue. This is really light, so I do not use too much at all. And you have to really be careful with some setting powders, as a little does go a long way. And if you don't want that white cast, or you know, that cast on your face, so you tap in the powder and make sure you knock the excess off. And this kind of gives it that little pop that I love. So just use a tiny amount. And make sure you get the shade that works for you. If you get the wrong shade, you can look too bright or too dark. So you have to make sure you get the right shade. I got this out of their mystery bundle, so I didn't actually choose a shade, but I've just learned to work with it. As before, I don't know, I didn't realize, like, you know, how bright it was, because it's like some translucent powders are okay, do you know what I mean? So you don't have to worry too much. But this one, oh my god, I'm just gonna press here. I won't even set here because it's a bit bright, but I'll just make sure this part is, you know, all blended. So now we're going to set the contour. So we're going to use a pressed powder, and this is a bronzer that I got from Zara. I'm not too sure what the shade is, but it works perfectly with my skin. The purpose of using a bronzer, a pressed powder, just to bring back that colour, and you want to set the wet parts of your face so it's all matte. And again, with bronzer, you have to be very careful with the shade that you choose, because you don't want to look muddy or grey. You know, you want to look warm. So I'm just setting the wet parts. And again, kind of do the circular motions, just so you can get that blend. You want to make sure you go in the apples of your cheeks, because we're bringing back that colour into our face. Then go down here.
I've ever made in my life. Coming in ecstasy. The ladies is pimps tonight. Living inside a dream.
And you just want to kind of drag it down, so there's not too much of a difference between your neck, because I know most of the time, you know, your neck might be a bit darker than your actual body, so then it looks like you're putting lighter makeup on than you are, but that's not the case. So now that we've done that, we're now going to set our face with the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish Powder, and this will again blend everything in and, you know, bring colour back in your face. So you just want to swirl here, and just kind of swirl everywhere on your face, and I'll give it that seamless look. And it also stops like the possibilities of a flashback happening. I absolutely love this powder. I think that, you know, it really just like ties in your makeup really well. It gives that blended look, and it's just perfect. I use the shade Dark Tan, and I absolutely love it. I really love it. I just think it's just a perfect powder. And I don't know why I didn't get this sooner. Like, I've always seen people rave about it, but I never really tried, but I can see why. It's one of those products that people did not lie about. So now that I've set my face with finishing powder, I'm just going to go back underneath my eyes just to brighten them up again. Again, this is compulsory. This is just what I like to do, and it does help with that flawless finish. I love a bright under eye, so it's a necessary step for me. I'm going to use my Charlotte Tilbury as well. And gives it that pop. Alright, so now we're going to get into our blush. This is one of my favourite steps of makeup. I absolutely love blush. So I'm using the Idole Beauty blush powder in the shade Eyebrow Spritz. How gorgeous is that? That's absolutely stunning. But with this one, a little goes a long way, so do not use too much. So I just used my blush brush that I got from Real Techniques, and you just do a dabble, just a little dab, blush the excess, then do like a little smile, and then apply from here upwards. Then you get the apple of your cheeks upwards. You just want to use a little pat-in motion, like so. And you see that? Perfect. Again, we'll do the other side. That is just so beautiful. Stunning. Okay, I'm gonna stop now because I'll just end up looking like a clown chair. But yeah, so now I just use the excess and then just lightly go on the temples of my forehead, and I feel like it just makes the bronzer pop a bit. I sometimes do use orange over my bronzer because I like the warmth. It just gives that extra warmth. It depends on my mood. And then I just use a little bit on the nose. I just use the excess and I don't want too much. Alright, so next onto the highlighter. I use Makeup Revolution highlighter. I use their baked highlighters. I've been using this for years. I haven't changed my highlighting for no one, no brand, no new trend, no nothing. So I stuck by it, child. So yeah, I'm going to use this. It was a palette, but it broke. So I'm just going to use this shade here. I'm not sure what it's called. And I'm going to use this one here. But I did use the Makeup Revolution baked bronzer and baked highlighter and mixed it together. I think I used the baked highlighter was in Golden Lights. And I can't remember what this shade was offhand for the baked bronzer. But I'll put a link below. So I just tap into both. Just dabble. And then you start in the middle. And then you kind of work your way like this. The reason why you want to start in the middle is just in case you apply too much, you can kind of just like blend it out. You should do the other side. So you don't want to look streaky. Then I highlight here. And then go to your forehead. We love a glow. And next we do our nose. So you just want to do a line and then do here. It gives you that button effect. Yeah. Purr. Glowing. That's what I love.
The diamonds they hit like a rainbow.
So next I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Filter Setting Spray. I absolutely love this spray. It merges your makeup in together. You don't look like cakey or like matte or just powdery. It just gives it that extra oomph that your makeup needs. I stand by this setting spray. Perfect. You'll never regret buying it. So now I'm just going to shake it. I'm going to give it that good shake and then spray. Now this part, you do not want to move your makeup too much, so try not to move your face. And then just kind of fan it out. Do you know, sometimes I spray in between steps, which also help your makeup last longer and have that flawless finish. But for now, I'm just going to do, when I finish, just to tie it in. But as it gets warmer, I'm probably going to spray between steps just to make it more long lasting. And yeah, because it's heat, child, you gotta do what you gotta do. And your makeup is guaranteed to last for a long time with that setting spray. That's because the necklace of Frank. So now I'm gonna use the Brow Define liner on my lips and just outline them. So I just do this, and you just do the strokes. Especially if you're starting out, you're trying to stabilize your hand. I like overlining my lips, so I just do it like so. here. It's important to follow the natural lining of your lips.
Yeah, let's have sex in the nines, breaking and bending the spine. I hate a privilege rapper that ain't had a hit since he signed. Niggas be full of excuses after they take.
Perfect. So sometimes I do like using eyeshadow for my lips. So I'll just again use a dark eyeshadow and then just kind of like line it. I don't have to use it with liner, but just for this video I'm just going to show you. I kind of do the same steps. So now it's time for lip gloss. The shade, it depends on what you like, what your preferences are, but I would recommend anyone building their makeup kit to get a clear gloss, because yeah, you know, you can never go wrong, can never be the wrong shade. And even if you get something too bright, you can always use liner to kind of mute it down. For this video I'm using the Destinee Beauty clear gloss, and yeah, so just apply it like so. Sometimes I use a gloss from the hair shot, as I just love the finish that it gives. What someone's thinking, chair. But yeah, I really like this gloss, and I just like the liner and the gloss look. So this is an optional step. So what I like to use black pencil for my waterline. Again, it's not compulsory, but this is the things that I've been into lately, so I'm just going to show you. So I kind of just like bend here, and then I just like apply it onto the waterline like so.
I'm moving surface, calling on my favorite. How to reach me and come and
there you have it. So this is optional. It depends on what your preference is. Not necessary at all, but something I like to do. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you learned how to do makeup through the steps that I've shown you and you achieved this base. I do think makeup is trial and error. It takes you some time to get used to, you know, applying makeup, and you'll start figuring out what works for your face. I think once you master what works for your face, you know, you will get that look that you're after. You will get that flawless look, because what works for one person may not work for the next, as everyone has different facial features, different things work for others, everyone has different skin types. So it's all about knowing what works for your face. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and let me know what you think in the comments. Please subscribe, like, and you know, show some love. Bye.